The city of Black Hollow was beautiful once. Now, it was a graveyard of memories. Cracked streets, boarded-up shops, and a strange silence that lingered even during the day. No birds sang here, no laughter echoed, only the wind whispered through empty alleyways. Evelyn arrived on the last train that still dared to stop there. She was a journalist, chasing a story no one else wanted to touch, the disappearance of 17 people over the past year. Locals called it the vanishing, but no one dared speak about it openly. When she asked questions, doors slammed shut. Faces turned pale. But there was one name she kept hearing in whispers, always the same, the Circle. A secret order, a cult that had haunted Black Hollow for decades. And according to the rumors, they had returned. That night, Evelyn checked into the only hotel still open. The owner, a thin man with hollow eyes, didn't ask for her ID, didn't even greet her. He only said one thing as he handed over the key. Stay inside after midnight. Don't answer if someone knocks. At 12:03 a.m., it came. 3 knocks. Slow. Heavy. Evelyn froze in bed, the warning echoing in her mind. The sound came again. 3 deliberate knocks on the wooden door, louder this time. She held her breath, gripping the handle of her phone like a weapon. And then, a voice. Low, distorted, like someone speaking through water. We know why you're here. Open the door, Evelyn. Her heart stopped. She hadn't told anyone her name. The door handle began to turn slowly, creaking like bones. She rushed to block it, pressing her weight against the door as the unseen force pushed from the other side. For a moment, she thought the wood would splinter. Then, silence. The pressure vanished. When she finally dared to peek through the peephole, the hallway was empty. But on the floor lay a piece of paper, slid under the door while she fought to keep it shut. She picked it up with trembling hands. Tomorrow. The old bell tower. Midnight. The bell tower loomed like a broken tooth against the bleeding sunset. Its bells had not rung in 20 years, not since the fire that gutted half the city. But as Evelyn climbed the spiral steps, a sound rose from below. Whispers. Dozens of them. A chant in a language she couldn't understand, yet it crawled under her skin like cold worms. She reached the top, and froze. They were waiting for her. Figures in black robes, faces hidden behind bone-white masks. In the center stood an altar carved from stone, smeared with something dark and wet. And above it, hanging upside down by ropes, was a man. Still breathing, eyes wide with terror. One of the masked figures stepped forward, his voice smooth as silk and venom. Welcome, Evelyn. We've been waiting for you. The Circle always knows. She tried to run, but hands gripped her arms like iron. The hooded man removed his mask, revealing a face she recognized, the hotel owner. His hollow eyes now glowed with something inhuman. You came looking for the truth. Now you will become part of it. The bells rang for the first time in 2 decades, their sound splitting the night. Evelyn struggled, but the hands holding her were cold and unyielding. They dragged her toward the altar as the chanting grew louder, circling around her like a swarm of insects. The smell of burning herbs and something metallic filled the air. The leader raised a dagger carved from obsidian, its surface etched with ancient symbols. He spoke in that strange language, and the others repeated every word in perfect unison. On the altar lay a book bound in cracked, black leather. Its pages were soaked with something that looked too much like blood. Evelyn screamed as they forced her to kneel. You don't have to do this. People will know I'm gone. The leader's grin widened. No one ever leaves Black Hollow. Not after midnight. The bell above tolled again, one deep, booming note that seemed to shake the bones in her body. At that sound, The man hanging above the altar began to convulse violently. His blood dripped onto the stone, mixing with black wax candles arranged in a circle. The cult leader pressed the dagger into Evelyn's palm. "Spill the blood, or yours will feed the abyss." Her mind raced. She could see the man above, his pleading eyes, his silent cries. The cult's whispers grew louder, almost deafening. She realized the truth: the circle didn't kill. They made others do it. They broke their victims until they joined them willingly. Evelyn gripped the dagger, her hands trembling. She could stab the man and save herself, or fight and probably die here tonight. She looked up at the glowing eyes around her and made her choice. With a sudden scream, she swung the dagger, not at the man, but at the ropes binding him. They snapped, and the man fell hard to the floor. Chaos erupted. Masked figures lunged at her, their robes swirling like shadows. Evelyn slashed wildly, cutting one of them across the arm before sprinting toward the spiral staircase. She heard them chasing, their footsteps pounding like war drums. The tower shook with the force of their fury. She reached the exit and burst into the night air, lungs burning, blood pounding in her ears. But the city was silent again, eerily still. She ran without looking back, into the darkness of Black Hollow. Evelyn didn't stop running until her legs gave out. She collapsed in the middle of an empty street, gasping for air. The fog was thick now, swallowing every shape, every sound. She grabbed her phone. It had no signal. Of course it didn't. Then she saw something that froze her blood. Every house on the street, every single window, was lit with a single candle. And in each window, a silhouette stood motionless, watching her. Her mind screamed to move, to run, but her body wouldn't obey. The shadows in the windows began to sway slowly, in perfect rhythm, like dancers in a silent song. And then, the bells rang again. This time, they didn't stop. By dawn, Evelyn was gone. Locals would later whisper that they saw her walking back toward the bell tower, her steps slow, her face blank. Some said they heard laughter, soft, broken, not quite human. When the bells tolled for the 7th time that day, the circle gathered in the tower once more. And among the hooded figures, a new member stood, her face hidden behind a bone-white mask. The circle always grows. The circle always knows. And in Black Hollow, the bells never stop ringing. 2 weeks after Evelyn vanished, Detective Marcus Hale stepped off the same train she once did. Black Hollow was not his first strange case, but there was something about this place that felt wrong, like the city itself was breathing. The first thing he noticed was the silence. No cars, no dogs barking, no people. Just fog curling through the streets like pale fingers. The station clerk avoided his eyes when Marcus showed Evelyn's photo. "Never seen her," he muttered, though the hesitation in his voice told another story. By evening, Marcus walked the streets, boots echoing too loudly on cracked pavement. Every window had curtains drawn. Every door locked, except one. The hotel. Its sign flickered faintly. Bell Tower Inn. Inside, the hotel smelled of dust and mold. At the counter stood a man with hollow eyes and a stiff smile, the same man Evelyn met weeks before. Marcus flashed his badge. "I'm looking for a woman. Checked in a few weeks back. Evelyn Ross." The man's smile didn't move. "No guests by that name." Marcus slammed the counter, his voice sharp. "Then explain this." He held up a photo of Evelyn's rental car parked outside the hotel from traffic cameras. The man's smile faltered for a second, just long enough for Marcus to notice. That night, Marcus broke into the office. He found the ledger, pages torn out, names blacked over. Except for one word scrawled at the bottom in red ink. Circle. And beneath it, A date. Tomorrow. Midnight. Marcus wasn't alone in the city. He felt them watching. Everywhere he went, behind cracked glass, figures stood in the windows. Always still, always staring. He called for backup. The line went dead. No signal. He tried his car. It wouldn't start. When night fell, the bells rang. Slow, hollow, each toll echoing through the streets like a death sentence. Marcus drew his gun and ran. But the streets were different now. Longer, twisting in ways they hadn't before. Every turn brought him back to the same place, the bell tower. And this time, its door was open. The chanting started before Marcus even stepped inside. It seeped through the walls, crawling into his bones. He descended into the tower's heart, gun shaking in his grip. Candles burned in a perfect circle. Robed figures swayed to an inhuman rhythm. And in the center, a new altar. Fresh blood staining the stone. The cult leader turned, his pale mask glinting in the candlelight. "Welcome, detective. We've been waiting." Marcus fired, but the gun clicked empty. He hadn't fired a single bullet. The chamber was clean. Hands grabbed him from behind. Cold, strong, dragging him toward the circle. The bells rang again. Days later, a train passed through Black Hollow. The conductor swore he saw someone on the platform, a tall man in a dark coat, wearing a white mask shaped like a skull. Behind him, the bells tolled 7 times. And in the windows of the city, the shadows kept swaying. The circle always grows. The circle always knows. And once you hear the bells, it's already too late.